welcome to the Front Office Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Cameron. Know it's been a while. Glad to finally get another episode in here. Appreciate everybody checking in with the YouTube channel and everything that we got going on. I wanted to do a quick segment on the NBA. Just started up, by the end of October. Today is November 11th, I think. I think that's the date. Y'all got to forgive me that I've been busy with kids and working and life shit. Um, but no, I think today's November 11th. The season's been going on for about a month now, probably about 10 or 11 games in. I'm actually watching some NBA while I'm doing a little overtime right now while I'm recording this episode. And I think Golden State and Minnesota are playing. But before we get to, my thoughts on so far teams, top contenders, MVPs, things of that nature, I saw a tweet, and, I like to start off the episode by things that kind of rub me the wrong way. I saw a tweet from Malik Monk, and it was just like, I don't give a fuck about y'all parlays. Now, I can understand that from both perspectives, from the player perspective and the fan perspective. I play Prize Picks sometimes and Underdog and things like that. It's just like I'm sure a lot of y'all who watch the show do. I can understand it from a player's perspective, as in us as fans shouldn't be tagging them on social media talking about how they fucked up our parlay. Number one, you chose to spend your money gambling. So, therefore, you can't blame that person for how they performed at their job that day. I'm pretty sure they went out with the intent to perform at their very best. Just wasn't a good day at the job. And just because you bet money on that doesn't mean to give you the right to be able to tag them on social media and be able to just say wild shit. I'm not one of those guys. If I bet on Prize Picks or Underdog or whatever little gambling app, if I lose, I lose. From the fans' perspective, it comes across sometimes like I just said, like I'll play it if I lose. As a matter of fact, I had a parlay probably 2 days ago. And who was that didn't? Scotty Barnes didn't get the double-double. They were playing the Celtics. Actually, that was yesterday. Yeah. I'm not going to go to this man's Twitter page and Instagram page and be tagging him and being like, oh, you fucked up my money. Like, nah, bro. Like, you didn't fuck up my money. I took a gamble. It's a gambling app. So I do understand it from the player's perspective. From the fans' perspective, if I would say something to Malik Monk, you are getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball. The reason why you're getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball is because of people like me, or the person who unfortunately is tagging you and saying that you messed up their parlay or whatever the case may be. Otherwise, nobody would be in the stands. They wouldn't be paying for paraphernalia. There wouldn't be TV deals, and you just be a motherfucker who can play basketball real good. So I would be careful about this shit, but I get his frustration, but I would be careful about how you talk to fans, because I'm not one of these people who think that y'all not regular people. Y'all are very talented people, but you're still a regular person. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be a situation where you feel like you can just say whatever you want because of your status. I don't think that's the case with him, but again, it can come across that way because of the power of social media. So that's my little rant for that. But getting to the NBA, I've enjoyed it so far. The in-season tournament, I'm sure everyone is confused just like I am. I actually did a little bit of research on it. It's 6 groups, 5 teams in each group. You got the East Division and you got the West Division. Apparently the top 8 teams make it, and they do it like on every Friday. But then I saw a commercial today saying that it'd be an in-season game on Tuesday. I think it's the 76ers and the Pacers, which both teams are really good. So let's just start in the West Coast. On the West side. Who do I think are top contenders in the West so far? I think you have to say Denver. Denver is number one. They're returning a lot. They did lose a few key pieces. They lost Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, but they got young guys who can step and fill those roles as far as numbers and stats. You still got the best player in the world in Jokic. Jamal Murray is a top 5 point guard when he's in the lineup. I think he's out right now with some knee soreness for like 2 weeks. The NBA season is a long season, so 2 weeks is not terrible, especially if that team can go out and win games without him. Now, they did actually lose to Houston tonight, which we'll get to Houston in just a minute. But behind them, I would say the Lakers. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm gonna follow, him where he goes. But the reason why I say LA is because of their depth. If they actually get it together and gel correctly, and they have all of their pieces, I think they're one of the deepest teams in the NBA, not just in the West. I think Denver is probably second as far as a deep bench. And I think Miami is pretty deep too. It gets a little frail around the 8th or ninth guy, but they're pretty deep too. Josh Richardson looks pretty good this year. He was kind of a non-factor last year, but he looks pretty good for that particular team. Behind them, I think you got to say Phoenix. The only thing about Phoenix is I haven't seen them all together. I think they played one preseason game all together, and it looked amazing, but it was a preseason game. They probably played like the first half, and it's just hard to gauge what they look like. But I will say this about the in-season tournament. Those guys do play hard on those games. Like, they play hard in those games. Every in-season game I've watched, it hasn't been a blowout. It's been a battle to the end, except for the Celtics and the Nets. The Celtics they smoked them, and it was nothing that Brooklyn really could do about it. They were already missing Cam Thomas. Gave it a good fight, but it just wasn't enough. Behind the Lakers, I would say Minnesota. Man, I mean, I want to say Dallas, and I want to say the Clippers. And again, this is super early. This is real early. I'm not saying that these are the teams that's going to make the playoffs. These are the things that are just kind of popping out to me as I'm watching the games. Minnesota and Anthony Edwards looks great. Anthony Edwards has definitely taken the next step in his career as far as being that guy on his team. They paid him in the offseason. He looks like him. I definitely think he should be an MVP candidate. With him and actually getting the votes, though, it's going to be about what they do, how they win. Whereas somebody like, for instance, Jason Tatum, he's already been to the finals. He's already been to the Eastern Conference Finals. That particular portion of his resume is already stamped, so he's already going to be considered for MVP. Anthony Edwards has to do a little bit more, but they look great. They've beaten some good teams. I think they're playing Golden State right now, giving them everything they can handle in Golden State. And Golden State is not, a team to be looked over. But in the West, those are my top three right now. Like I said, Phoenix, I do think Phoenix is up there. I get it. They have all three of those guys, and it's a really good team. I haven't seen all three of them together, so I can't put them in there. I think Dallas is honorable mention. They're kind of up and down, depending on how Luka and Kyrie are gelling. But I do like the young kid out of Duke, Derek Lively. I think once he learns how to play and affect the game a little bit more without being in foul trouble a lot, he's going to be tough. New Orleans always has a chance. It's just whether they actually make that next step. Zion's healthy. Brandon Ingram. Now C.J. McCollum is out, and it's just up to the young guys right now to step it up. So they got a few more pieces to add down there. Going into the Eastern Conference, I think you got to say the top team is Philly. Philly's beating everybody who's supposed to be the top team. They beat Boston. They beat Miami early. Joel Embiid is absolutely in MVP form. With him is always health. If he's on the floor, he's super effective. He's the second best big man in the NBA, and I'm only giving that to him behind Jokic because Jokic is the best player in the NBA. That's just not even a question. But Philly's first for me. I think Boston is right behind them. And I got a surprise team. I think Indiana is going to finish kind of high. Like, I've been watching them. I've been paying attention to them. Halliburton in that backcourt. I think once Buddy Hield actually starts shooting it a little bit better. Miles Turner. They got some young athletic guys. Matthew. Got some vets on that team. They play up-tempo. They play really fast. I like I like Indiana. So those are my top three contenders as of November 11th, in the East and the West. Um, as far as any predictions, just think it's way too early. But as far guys to watch, I kind of mentioned those: Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis. Man, I have tried and tried and tried to defend Anthony Davis for about 2 years now, and I'm not gonna trash Anthony Davis like a lot of people do. I don't feel like I had the clout or the credibility to do that. I will say this: it is extremely frustrating knowing that you play alongside the guy who is 39 years old, is barely hurt, takes the best care of his body better than anybody in the NBA. I don't think that's up for debate. And you always hurt. I get it. I've never played in the NBA. I've played basketball before. If you are hurt, you're hurt. It's nothing you can do about that. You can try and do this rehab and things like that, but you can't stop or predict their injury. So nobody should, especially somebody sitting on their couch eating some fucking Cheetos, should be criticizing the man for being hurt. What I will say is this: you have to, when you're not hurt, you gonna have to dominate, bro. Like, you need to really go out there and give it your all. And I've watched a few games, and it's just like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like, it's alarming sometimes. But they play Portland tonight at 10. While I'm doing my overtime, I'm gonna check them out. I still believe in Anthony Davis. I still think he could be right up there mentioned with the Embiids and the Jokic, but you have to be consistent. Those guys are. Embiid to be hurt, but when he's on the floor, he's on the floor. He's dominating. Yeah, he's had some iffy playoff games, but for the most part, Embiid has made his stamp and made it official. I think everybody's waiting for Anthony Davis to do that. I think Bron is trying to pass it to him. Not sure if he's ready for it or not. It'll be very interesting to see if he can step up to the plate. I'm not going to get into Bron. Bron is Bron. That's all I got to say about that. He is crazy. But I mean, yeah. No, as of right now, I always say you have to be careful about what you say. That's why when I'm talking, it's not scripted. I don't have no script. I don't have no producers here or anything like that. I'm really just speaking from the heart and off my mind. So I have to be careful about what I say. And it's very, very early for me to go into any further detail. Those are the top three teams as I see it in each conference. I'm not saying that these are the teams that's going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that these are the teams that's going to win it. This is just what I noticed. But I will give an honorable mention on each side, and I didn't do that. On the east side, shout out to my man Tim Johnson. His Detroit Pistons are definitely somebody I think is going to be a problem in about a year or two. Cade Cunningham, if he has not been selected for the All-Star team, he is going to make an All-Star team as long as they can kind of stay competitive. They are very deep as far as their bench is concerned. They got some great pieces. I like the Thompson kid. His brother plays for Houston. I like him. I think he's a very crafty player. They got another guy, this light-skinned guy. I forget his name. Oh, man, I can't remember his name. He kind of looks like Cade, but a little bit shorter. But, if y'all know his name, put it in the comments. He's pretty good. Defensively, I like the style of basketball they play. They got a great coach. Looks like the organization is making a change for the better, and it's good to see that. So I would say that's a team to watch. My team in the West to watch, which is crazy. Shout out to Alvin Staley, man, and his Houston Rockets. I watched them beat the shit out of the Lakers about 3 days ago. I just watched them beat Denver tonight. It's a long season, but those are good wins, and that's an immediate change. I think the Rockets from last year wouldn't even had a chance in either one of those games. Everybody knew when they came to town it was a win, with the exception of a few wins here and there by the Rockets. And this year, you have to take them seriously. So shout out to the Rockets, man. Fred VanVleet at the point, Dylan the villain, like him, don't like him, hate him, love him. Whatever the case, he's definitely a game impactor. He's a person who makes his imprint on the game. Jabari Smith, they got the foreign guy down low. I'm pretty sure that's not really politically correct, but I can't remember his name. The guy from overseas. He's tall. He actually outplayed Jokic tonight. Well, Jokic had a triple-double. I ain't going to say he outplayed him, but he played well against him. He played well enough. Jeff Green had like 15 points in the fourth quarter. It was a good win. It was a good win for them. It's only one. This is not the NFL. This is not where, one loss is really going to haunt you. You win some, you lose some. And I was just impressed with the way that he did it tonight. Disappointment teams, I would have to say in the East, Chicago, it looks horrible. They won tonight. They beat Detroit, actually. But, throughout the season, they've looked pretty bad. Hold on one second. I had a low battery. Throughout the season, they've looked pretty bad. A lot of talk about how they're going to break that team up. It'll be interesting to see if they keep them together because currently constructed, they're a playoff team if they actually play to their potential. In the East, definitely. Out West, I want to say, that's a good question. Out West, who's the most disappointing team so far out West? It's so early, I don't want to call it a disappointment, but I guess I would say surprised by where they are right now. Probably Sacramento. I expected Sacramento to come out and be clearly one of the best three teams in the NBA, which is plenty of time for them to still get to that point. But as of right now, with De'Aaron Fox hurt and having to kind of piece together lineups, they're getting exposed a little bit, but some of the younger guys are getting some exposure and minutes and experience, so that's good. When he comes back, we'll see what they look like. We'll reevaluate Sacramento. I definitely think they're a playoff team, though. But I would say, I'm a little surprised by how they look. They kind of struggle to get wins right now. And they just – every night is something different with them as far as, like, somebody else stepping up to the plate or being who they need to be. It's a struggle for Sacramento right now. But, again, that's understandable. You're missing your all-star, the face of the franchise. So it'll be interesting to see what they do once De'Aaron Fox gets back. But I just want to give y'all a quick check-in, man. I'm still here, not going anywhere, man. We're going to be here for a while, Front Office Podcast. Hopefully we'll have some paraphernalia that says Front Office Podcast. But, of course, I went with marked up clothing, tees and trees, T-shirt. If it ain't independent, we not wearing it. We appreciate y'all checking in, man. Everybody who's a subscriber, thank you so much. Like, comment, share the video for me. Peace. I will drop another NFL episode as well because it's a lot of sports going on. So all of us guys are super, super happy. I'm going to holler at y'all the next time. Peace.